Right, and the clock just hit 6 a.m. It is Thursday, September 25. A very good morning to you and welcome to yet another edition of Kusile Breakfast Show right here on Eswatini TV. Thank you so much for choosing to wake up with us and start your morning with us. Actually, my name is Notele Sitole and I'm joined by my co-host, Sifiso Mmalumguni.
A tough morning to wake up. It's 14 degrees Celsius.
Cold,
well,
yeah.
That's going to be during the day. Right now, it's 9 degrees Celsius. Very, very cold morning. We experienced showers of rain starting from yesterday evening, leading up to the night, and indeed some parts of the country that is still ongoing this morning. We hope that everyone is warm, everyone is safe, and that everyone that is tuned in is ready to take on the day with us. A very good morning indeed. And as she said, my name is Sifiso Mala. I'm also happy to co-host this program with her this morning. Today on the program, the inter-regional meeting of bishops of Southern Africa, better known as Imbisa, has chosen Manzini as the venue for its 14th plenary assembly, a moment that allows and also marks its golden jubilee. For 50 years, Imbisa has been a platform for bishops to reflect, to act, as well as to strengthen the church's witness in the face of evolving challenges across our region, with the theme A Synodal Journey Nourished by Compassion and Blossoming in Faith as Pilgrims of Hope. Question becomes, what does this milestone mean for the faithful, and what conversations are being sparked right here in Eswatini? To help us reflect, we'll be joined by Mamiso Vilagati. He is the Media and Communications Liaison Officer representing the Catholic Church in Eswatini. A very important conversation this morning as Eswatini hosts a couple of countries, I think it's over 14 countries, including France and the United States, as well as of course, the African countries that make part of Imbisa. So stay tuned for that conversation happening at 6:30 this morning.
And at 7:30, in addition to a conversation with CTM based in Matapa, today we'll take stock of a silent yet concerning challenge that touches families, communities and health systems across the globe: Alzheimer's and dementia. These are not just conditions of old age, but rather complex, progressive illnesses that strip away memory, alter behavior and place a heavy burden on caregivers and society. Now, as the world marks the annual Awareness Day for Alzheimer's and dementia this September, we join the global call to educate, inform and inspire action. Locally, public understanding is still growing, and as the media, it is crucial that we bring these issues to the forefront. Mental health focal person from the Ministry of Health will join me virtually to unpack what Alzheimer's and dementia really mean, how they affect individuals and families, and what steps we can all take to build a more supportive society. But first, we're going to take a look at what is making headlines in print this morning. Right, on the Eswatini Observer this morning, King denounces coup, urges African unity. That's a headlining story there on the Eswatini Observer. Also in another headlining story, UEDF hits back. Stay out of it. Army tells MPs rather. Umbuto Eswatini Defence Force warns MPs it only works with Bukopo, Bandlangane and community police. In a story on page 5 of the Eswatini Observer, new HIV drug price slashed, hailed. And also in another headlining story, Operation Tutula targets Emaswati learners.
Right, we look at the back end of the Eswatini Observer, and the top stories here: new era dawns with fixture release. Fireworks at season's dawn. Bullhorse defending Singizini Hotspurs, while Wanderers welcome Moneni Pirates. Red Leopard will play Buffaloes in what will be a Forces derby. That is the countdown that has officially begun for the 2025-2026 Premier League of Eswatini season, which will kick off next weekend with a thrilling lineup of fixtures headlined by defending champions Singizini Hotspurs taking on fallen giants Mbabane Highlanders, while Manzini Wanderers make their long-awaited return with the fiery hub derby against Moneni Pirates. In other stories, Wanderers legend King Clay has passed on. The football fraternity is mourning the passing of one of its greatest savants, and Manzini Wanderers legend Clement King Clay Mdluli. Mdluli, fondly remembered for his thunderous headers and aerial dominance, passed on Tuesday evening at Raleigh Fitkin Memorial, that is the RFM hospital, after battling illness since July. Very sad story. Our last story, Yeki makes it to Sihlangu's tentative squad. The reigning Premier League player of the season, Sizwe Yeki Kumalo, who has earned a recall to tentative Sihlangu squad ahead of Eswatini's upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers. An announcement that marks the first squad selection under interim coach Sifiso Nuro Ndibane.
On the Eswatini Daily News front page this morning, His Majesty King Mswati III joins a Bloomberg Global Forum. In other stories, we'll still with His Majesty's travel, His Majesty King Mswati III has called for resolute rejection of coups and non-recognition of any governments installed through unconstitutional means. In other headlining stories, HIV drug price cut hailed, and Eswatini gains UN Climate Forum observer status.
Eswatini Daily News Sport, 3 internationals for Sihlangu camp. They write the nation's pride, well, the nation's pride that has disappointed a lot of its supporters. The nation's pride will take on Angola and Cape Verde next month in the last 2 fixtures under the guidance of former Royal Leopards mentor Sifiso Ndibane. And then coaches mourn King Clay, while Ekitike apologizes to Liverpool fans.
Right, those are just some of the headlines we're waking up to when it comes to print this morning. For now, we'll go for a break. After that, our first bulletin for the day in Siswati.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Nguvusele ngolumhlenade tindzaba tekucala lisuku silo semhlaba sesikhuthatele ubumbano nekubambisana kwemhlaba ekulweni nasekubhekaneni netinkinga letibangelwa kuguquka kwesimo selitulu. Ingwenyama beyiphefumula enhlanganweni wekukhulumisa tindzaba letiphathelene neguquka kwesimo selitulu lebobanjelwe enhlokohhovisi yakamhlaba eNew York.
Kulemnye yemhlangano ngaphansi kwalona wakamhlabuhlangene lomkhulu silo semhlaba singene lo mhlangano wokukhulumisa tindzaba tekuguquguquka kwesimo selitulu. Lo mhlangano bewenziwe ngumabhalane jikelele wenhlangano yakamhlaba His Excellency Antonio Guterres kutsi baholi bemave bathule emasu netinhlelo tekubhekana nekuguquguquka kwesimo selitulu kuya embili pheceleti ema-updated nationally determined contributions NDCCs. Emhlanganweni wakamhlaba lonyaka letinye tindzaba lebetivele tidzingidvwa baholi bemave emhlaba ngito tindzaba tekuguquguquka kwesimo selitulu. Kulo mhlangano kubuketwe tindlela tekulwa nalesimo, kumelana naso, kusekelana ngetimali kulolu hlangothi kanye nelwati lwekuphumelela kweticazululo. leSwatini lingulelinye lemave lakhungethwe ukuguquguquka kwesimo selitulu njengoba libhekene nesomiso, tikhukhula ngenxa yetimvula letina ngalokweqile lokubanga umthelela lomubi futhi live libe nokudla lokwanele phindze futhi khinyabeteke tekulima letifaka sandla lesibandi emnothweni welive. Silo semhlaba siphefumula umhlaba kulomhlangano sigcizelele kabandi ngekubambisana nokubumbana komhlaba kulwa netinkinga letibangwa ukuguquguquka kwesimo selitulu naletinye tinkinga letiphatselene nalolu hlangothi.
We must all consider innovative internal and external resource mobilization strategies to unlock capital for adaptation and resilience. Otherwise, the Paris Agreement may break its promises. Finally, improving global financial architecture is essential for Eswatini's NDC 3.0 goals. Madam President, about survival and the opportunity, with the right support, Eswatini can turn climate challenges into green growth, food sovereignty, and shared prosperity.
Ingwenyama iphindze yathi leSwatini litawukwakha imitsetfo licinise tonkhe tinhlangothi kutsi likhulise kutimbandzakanya kuvikela kunakisisa nekubika kulolu hlangothi.
Eswatini will reform laws and strengthen all institutions to improve capacity, accountability, monitoring, and reporting. Financial constraint prevented NDC 2.0 from meeting its $900 million to $1.5 billion target. Eswatini has only raised about $449 million since 2018. The NDC 3.0, estimated to cost over $2.4 billion, requires scaled up and predictable climate finance. Thus, we expect stronger collaboration with our partners, including the local private sector, to finance the $2 billion gap.
Imbubo yemhlaba ithi leSwatini liyingxenye yemave lalishumi lakhonile kubamba sikhathi sembiko kungakenci mhla tingemashumi lamabili enyangeni yeNyoni.
The kingdom is among the 10 African countries that met the September 22nd deadline, a significant milestone thanks to the support of the local UN office and partners. The NDC 3.0 revision process was comprehensive and inclusive, with the greenhouse gas data local driven, providing that we own the process.
Mapalane jikelele wenhlangano yakamhlaba His Excellency Antonio Guterres akhuluma kulomhlangano uvete ngekushintsha kwemkhicito wetemandla lohlobile. Baholi lebebangenele lo mhlangano nabo bathola lithuba ukuthi bethule tinkulumo njengoba bebaqhamuka etinhlangothini letehlukene temhlaba. Etindzabeni kubika Pholile Maziya eNazweli eMasuku eNew York, America.
Silo samhlaba sithi Africa ithethe isinqumo sokuthi bonke labangena etinkhundleni noma ke etikhundleni ngikuketula bohulumende babo kumele bangavunyelwa ukuthi babe ngemalunga enhlangano ye-African Union. Ingwenyama bephefumula emhlanganweni webaholi bemave bunye be-Africa ngephansi kohlangothi lwetekuthula netekuphepha e-Peace and Security Council.
This meeting is not merely a forum for reflection but a call to action, ensuring that Africa's peace remains rooted in African wisdom and determination. We assemble at the critical crossroad where violent conflicts, research, unconstitutional changes of government and coups persist, and new threats from climate-induced instability to transnational crime compound our strife. Africa has taken a firm stand not to tolerate coups nor recognize governments established through unconstitutional means. The African Union, together with the United Nations, must uphold this principle at all times. No matter how popular a coup may appear, we cannot and we will not embrace those who seize power by force. We must reject any attempt to overthrow a legitimate government. Those who ascend to power through coups must face consequences, not acceptance. The African Union and the United Nations have a responsibility to act decisively, ensuring that no coup is legitimized or recognized. This is not merely a policy, it is a moral imperative. As enshrined in the AU 50th Anniversary Solemn Declaration and Agenda 2063, we reaffirm our sacred pledge to silence the guns by 2030, sparing future generations the scars of war. Guided by the core objectives of this gathering, let us seize this opportunity to reassess, renew, and reinforce our path to enduring peace. We must, as heads of state and government, provide the space to reassess the African Union's conflict resolution efforts, reflecting on critical lessons and best practices to enhance the PSC's mandate. Eswatini, as a member of the African Union PSC for the 2025-2028 term, has seen firsthand the power of our tools, the continental early warning systems, the panel of wise preventative diplomacy, and the African standby force. However, we have learned that early warnings too often go unheeded, allowing crises to escalate. Let us commit to codify best practices from successful interventions. Eswatini therefore proposes a General Assembly-led compliance unit with clear timelines that will transform our resolutions from aspirations into unbreakable commitments. We must safeguard the efficiency and legitimacy of the African solutions to African problems, the very essence of our union. Further, Eswatini urges the full operationalization of the African Standby Force and bolstered financing through the AU Peace Fund and innovative partnerships. We need to renew the PSC delivery of its conflict resolution mandate, focusing on relations with partners. These include, but not limited to, regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, the UN Security Council, the European Union Peace and Security Committee, and the League of Arab States Peace and Security Council. Fragmented collaborations have hindered progress. Let us forge harmonized protocols for joint early warnings, shared intelligence, and coordinated actions, always under African leadership to amplify our global goals. Finally, we must intensify our efforts to ensure full implementation of AU-facilitated peace agreements and timely completion of political transitions. Excellencies, we must confront structural imbalances by advocating UN Security Council reform as per the Eswatini consensus for Africa's equitable representation. Our generation bears the duty to turn vision into reality. Beyond rhetoric, with courage and unity, let us silence the guns forever. May this meeting mark a turning point where Africa's children inherit peace and a brighter future, brimming with hope, not challenges. Thank you. May Almighty God bless us all.
Now Ngakulokunye silo semhlaba sesingenela umhlangano wabosomvunzima kutebhizinisi Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum lobubanjelwe eNew York Haven leMerica. Lamhlangano bongenelwe baholi bemave nebaholi betinhlangosi tabohulumende naletitimele noma ke naletimele netinhlangano letingayenti inzuzo.
Ingwenyama ingenele umhlangano lowatiwa ngele Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum lobuchubeka eceleni kwamhlabuhlangene. Lomhlangano uhlanganise bosondonzima kutebhizinisi labaqhamuka etinhlangothini letehlukene letfaka ekhatsi bohulumende labatimele kanye netinhlangano letingekho ngaphansi kwahulumende kubuketane kuphuma netisombululo tetinkinga letiphutfumako. Lomhlangano ubukete livekati le-Afrika njengendlela yekuveta emakhambi lamasha, kutshala timali nekutfutfukisa takhiwo. Lonyaka lomhlangano ubusiswe kuba khona kwesilo semhlaba. Lomhlangano-ke awucali lomuhla kwatise ukuthi eminyakeni lengcile ungenelwe baholi bemave labangetulu kwe-50 baphathi betinkampani labangama-250 netiphathimandla eluhlangothini lwetemafa, tebuchwephesha netishamtsetfo kubala labambalwa.
At Bloomberg Philanthropies, we've seen the power of collaboration and partnership. It's at the heart of everything that we do. Our mission is to help the greatest number of people live longer, better lives. In pursuit of that goal, we look for needs that aren't yet met.
Umhlangano uvulwe ngumsunguli wawo Michael Bloomberg lokhulume kabanti ngekubambisana kwemhlaba kutentuthuko, kukhula nekufukuleka kwemnotfo. Kanike kube naletinye letikhulumise tindzaba letifaka ekhatsi inhlakanipho yekwakhiwa lelingisako i-artificial intelligence, kutshala timali kutemvelo nekubuketa temnotfo kuletikhatsi talamuhla kubala lokumbalwa. Imbubo yemhlaba kulo mhlangano beyisingethwe yindvuna yetangaphandle nekubambisana lamanye emave epholile Shakhantu, indvuna yetekwatisa kuchumana netebuchwepheshe Savannah Maziya, indvuna yetemafa Neil Reichenberg, indvuna yetemabhizinisi netekutsengiselana Mancoba Khumalo kanye naloncuselele Eswatini enhlanganweni yakamhlaba His Excellency Thami Dlamini. Silo semhlaba sisingethwe inkhosikati Makela Ntentesa singenele sidlo sakusihlwa ebesentiwe ngumengameli welive leMelika His Excellency Donald Trump kanye namake mengameli Melania Trump. Isidlo sakusihlwa besisekwemukela abaholi bemave labete emhlanganweni webaholi bemave akamhlaba. Lesidlo sendeke ngemuva kwekuvulwa kwemhlangano wakamhlaba wema-80. Kanike besibanjelwe eLotte New York Palace. Ngakulokunye inkhosikati Makela Ntentesa ingenele sidlo sasemini lesentiwe ngumake mengameli welive leMelika Melania Trump endele bomake mengameli bakamhlaba. Kulesidlo make mengameli usukumise lihlelo lolusha lokubuketa tindzaba tebantfwana. Etindzabeni kubika Pholile Maziya anazweli masuku eNew York, America.
Litiko letemfundvo liyachubeka nekucola imfundvo yakuleli ukuthi ibe nguleyo lehambisana netidzingo temakhono ladzingekako ngekucinisa tingucuko letingito kulokufundwa kwetikolweni curriculum. Imvuna yelitiko letemfundvo umhlonishwa Nxumalo ithi imfundvo isisekelo sentuthuko lokwenta kube nesidzingo sekubuketwa njalo. Imvuna beyikhuluma emhlanganweni loteka tindzaba tetemfundvo ye-National Conference on Curriculum.
Litiko letemfundvo lihlanganise bonke labatsinsekako etindzabeni tetemfundvo labafaka ekhatsi bemakolishi, babhali, bafundzi, labacwaningako kanye-ke netinkampani kutewuva imicondvo yabo mayelana nemfundvo ikakhulu esigabeni saloko lokufundvako etikolweni i-curriculum. Ngekuhambisana netidzingo temisebenti leseyikhona tebuchwephesha lobuthutfukako kanye nekuhlomiswa kwebantfu labasha ngemakhono. Ikhuluma kulo mhlangano indvuna yelitiko letemfundvo umhlonishwa Nxumalo ithi-ke lo mhlangano utitselo taloko lokwakhulunywa esibayeni mayelana nekutfutfukisa lizinga letemfundvo yakangwane.
Sifuna kuphuma ngokuthi labantwana besinabaphuma esikolweni bakhone ukuthola imisebenzi. Labantwana basinabaphuma esikolweni babe ngilento lefuna dinkapani. Kulo mnyaka lotako vele sesifaka high school noma lesi CBE bese se primary. Nyalo ke siyachubeka iyale high school itolungisa nathi tintfo lelabaze bakhala ngato esibayeni.
Umphathi welibandla lelibuke lokufundva etikolweni Musa Hlophe uthi tinkampani letikhona nato titoletsa umuvo wato kutsi yini emakhono ladzingekile.
Sihlanganise government partners lababambise uhulumende labenema research nema researchers lakhona vele kutabe kupresent emaphepha basivunulisa ukuthi kuze le curriculum yethu ibe inclusive, ibe equality, ibe equitable, ingendeka kahle kanjani.
Now we are focusing more in our current program on combating the very high youth unemployment, and where we see that there is a mismatch between the skills that are being developed and the job opportunities. So our
Eva Maria Etta lobuke lihlangothi lwetekudlelana nalamanye emave enhlanganweni yemava labamhlophe lokungiyona inhlangano lesekele lomhlangano uthi labakubonile ukuthi imfundvo yakangwane iselele emuva kakhulu lokuyinfo labafise kubambisa live kuyo ukuthi igucuke. Uthi ke lenhlangano kwamanje isekela kufundziswa kwamakhono kude bantfu labasha batawukhona kutakhela amatfuba emsebenti. Lakangwane selilungiselela ukuthi nakushaya 2030 kube sekunetingucuko letiphatsekako kutemfundvo njengekusho kwesicubulo salomhlangano. Kubika Sonto Mlangeni, Kamanzini.
Ngakemidlalo sewusishile emhlabeni Clement Mdluli bekade ngaKing Clay lo wadlalela licembu leManzini Wanderers waphinzwa waba ngumceceshi walo. Mdluli wadlalela nekhethelo lesive esihlangisemnikade usishiya emhlabeni kulandzela kugula sikhathi lesithe. Nyanga Crooks Hlophe lo waqala kumbona adlala ibhola wamcecesha waphinze wasebenta naye uthi umndeni webhola ikakhulukazi iManzini Wanderers ilahlekele kakhulu ngekuhamba kwakhe. Mdluli
nje ngiyaqala kusinga okunje ababe ngesiba kaMdluli ngosiyami babe ngesiba abantu beWanderers into lenjena zange siyibone siyaqala kuyibona playing match amncane silapha trade fair alanze mabhola lengemuva kuna coach Kina Pins angumfana yena yoke alanze mabhola ngibholbhol nasijima walanda kwathi ngalelinye la angisathi ukuthi bengekho bani lo sishota la egroundini sijima phela sijimele Africa Cup sasedlala ne township roller ngiyakhumbula yaseButswana siyashota so uthi ke kino hayi siyashota kanjani ngithi mina awufake nangompana nanguyalo lanje emabhola athi kina okay asitwalile efike Clay aqala efike Clay adribble lesinye isithenjwa sethu ngeke ngisho Clay wa register kokuqala siya ku-Africa Cup siyodlala ne-Township Roller bekuqala kokubona umuntu lo njalo no into lengiyadikwa abengumuntu lo responda kona na ukhuluma naye noma nisebenza asilazi ngisebenze naye isikhathi lesithe asilazi siqabani nakhe nangabe kunenkinga lekhona utayisho.
Inhlangano ledlalisa umdlalo wehandball kuleli seyibambe umhlangano sikolo emalanga lasihlanu ukufundisa abonompempe balomdlalo kuleli. Ngekusho kwamengameli wenhlangano Delisile Manyathi bonompempe batawusita ekukhuliseni lo mdlalo etikolweni kanye nakuto tifundza telive. Lo mhlangano sikolo uchubekele eOlymp Africa kalubamba.
Yes, it's our first time having a refereeing course Eswatini in Center Level 1. So we believe that it's Center Level 2 kanjalo. Up until sigcine sinayo lento khona kusimelela kuzone nakuthiwa kune International Handball Trophy akhona kuyo refela khona. Labo rafera bethu lesinabo nakuphela umfunza sikolo, they are coming in all different parts of the country. So ngila gcina sifuna i-handball yethu ikhona khona. Kungathi nasithi sidlala eshiselweni kufuna sithatha rafela kaManzini ayo rafela eshiselweni. Sivele sisebenzise waseshiselweni. Nasiselibonjeni kube kanjalo njengoba sinawo ema-teams ethu la kangu-16 kangwane ngiko sithi batawuchubeka barafele kulawo ma-tournaments nanoma sinale handball in schools batawuchubeka barafele la. Ukufundza kwethu kwanamhla kutasisita kakhulu because besisolo sifunza singawadi lama-rules ukhanze sisekuyasishayana sesiyodlala international. So nyalo sicabanga ukuthi kutasisita kakhulu from the basics. Especially because sitawufaka i-handball edikolweni kutawusisita kakhulu ukuthi basinabadlala badlale sebanala ma-rules sebawa-understanda nawo lo mdlalo. Okay, i-facilitator yethu isuka ilethwe mu-International Handball Federation and Confederation of African Handball Cup. Iyona originally yase-Nairobi from Kenya. Ilo khazana yethu i-class lefu tawucala namuhla liphela Saturday 28.
Diphela lapho ngolomhlethi nzabade kucala lisuku sithatha ikhefu nasibuya sicocisana nemchumanisi welibandla lemakatolika kuleli.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.za.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunze. Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kumula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokusembili.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
All right, 34 minutes after 6, let's turn our attention now to a gathering of immense significance, not only for Eswatini, but for the Southern African region at large. The inter-regional meeting of bishops of Southern Africa, better known as Imbisa. It has chosen Manzini as the venue for its 14th plenary assembly, a moment that also marks its golden jubilee. For 50 years, Imbisa has been a platform for bishops to reflect, to act, as well as to strengthen the Church's witness in the face of evolving challenges across our region, with the theme this year being a synodal journey nourished by compassion and blossoming in faith as pilgrims of hope. The question is, what does this milestone mean for the faithful, and what conversations are being sparked right here in Eswatini? To help us reflect, Ngamiso Vilagati, the Media and Communications Liaison Officer, who is representing the Catholic Church in Eswatini. It's an interesting thing that is happening in the Kingdom of Eswatini today, by the way. I understand we are playing host to 8 countries, and I was just looking at the brief here, how far this assembly comes. It's quite interesting. 22 to 27 April 1975, there was the first one in Pretoria, South Africa, founding meeting of Imbisa, and then a couple of them, many of them, culminating to this one today here in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Maybe let's situate it first, because I was reading an article by another online publication with which they had an interview with our tourism chief executive, Vusi Norman Dlamini. Vusi yagcizelela ukuthi live la kaNgwane nyalo litawutibophelela kuqinisa ukuthi li-host ema-conference, li-host emave emhlaba, ukuthi ede lapha kaNgwane kutawubamba ema-meeting. Ngabe vele, what does this mean for the church locally, but for Eswatini as well, that we are hosting this?
Well, first of all, a greeting to the viewer. Lengakusho ngeSwatini, we are known as people laba welcoming by our very nature, because we usually use phrases like lunya alunamphumulo. So in that case, we say we don't know where we'll end up. So usually when someone comes, we are what all. So for us as a Maswati and as a church in Eswatini, vele we are people laba hospitable, laba welcoming, and for us as a country, I would say in hosting such an occasion, it is also so significant in a sense ukuthi siyakhona lokuthi vele all along migrants and refugees as an example, we have shown, as a church and as a country, we are good in terms of hospitality.
Right.
That is what I can really say in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I suppose our tourism industry there is also enjoying what you guys are doing, and essentially that is what we love to see when it comes to our hospitality industry and our tourism industry.
True. In fact, we as Catholics, in fact, we have also shown, in a sense, where we would say our Swazi values as a Maswati. These can also be integrated, or we can use them in order to understand our faith, because our faith is that of a welcoming aspect.
100%.
Because even Jesus Christ himself was welcomed in foreign lands, say for Egypt as an example.
Right.
He was welcomed in a foreign land. And also, Nazi as a Maswati, we are so grateful that we are hosting such an occasion as by Lodge this weekend.
This assembly, I cannot help but notice that it coincides with your Golden Jubilee. That is 50 years. It's a very long time. I haven't lived 50 years myself, and God willing I will. But I wonder, because, it was founded in Pretoria 1975, as I premised earlier. What strikes you the most as the defining moment or achievement of these 5 decades?
Well, one would say, it is important to also look at the historical fact of what was happening in Southern Africa at that particular time. The bishops, yes, they met in Pretoria, but we would look at South Africa at the time. It was under apartheid rule. So it became difficult, in fact, for the bishops to meet in South Africa. And if you look at Lesotho, it's a landlocked country. Angola and Mozambique, civil war. Zimbabwe was not yet independent. They only became independent in 1980. But the bishops really wanted to meet and to support one another in their role as chief shepherds of their dioceses. So at that particular moment in 1975, you know, at that particular moment, I would say in 1976, we had a bishop here in our country, Bishop Eswatini, who was instrumental in the foundational aspect of the Imbisa itself. So the offices, in fact, they moved from Pretoria to Eswatini, Manzini. Wow. So I think the bishops themselves, they decided that it is best to honor this Golden Jubilee here in Eswatini because it will also coincide with this Golden Jubilee.
Yeah. And I suppose, you know, appreciating how critical this moment was at the time, as you do mention, you know, 1975, still under apartheid. You know, we needed such compassion, we needed that element of hope and optimism.
True.
And I suppose this was that at the time, and it still is today.
True. Even today, we do need hope. The Holy Father, the late Pope Francis, he inaugurated this year from the 24th of December last year as the Jubilee year. You know, the Catholic Church every 25 years, we celebrate what is called a Jubilee. So he named this Jubilee as the Pilgrims of Hope. Let us be pilgrims of hope. Because in our society at this particular moment, we have lost so much hope.
Yeah.
So it is better that as we celebrate this Jubilee, we become people of hope, because when we hope and we believe in Jesus Christ himself, we are going to be, you know, better as people. Yeah. And yes, in the year 76, one may recall also in South Africa, Soweto, there was that student uprising of some sort. But, you know, the welcoming aspect of us as Swazis at that particular time, welcoming those students to Eswatini, the ANC members at that particular moment, we were able to bring hope to South Africans as a country, Eswatini. And that is why we are now celebrating independence as a South Africa. So in a sense, I would say the aspirations of the time and the aspirations of nowadays, they are more or less similar, you know, they are more or less similar.
Yeah. And of course, you know, and I'm happy you mentioned that as we speak about needing hope even today, because it's easier to understand why we needed hope back in the day, you know, apartheid and everything that was going on with colonialism. But even today, there is the internal conflicts, which is the money and debt. There's, of course, the geopolitical issues that are going on, climate issues. It's quite a lot. Human inventiveness forces, it's a lot of it. True. And we need hope indeed. True. And so, you know, rest in peace to Pope Francis. And I'm happy that because I do want us to get into the theme, which is indeed striking. A synodal journey nourished by compassion, an important word, and blossoming in faith as pilgrims of hope. In, you know, every practical terms. What does this mean to the church?
Yes, as you might mention, compassion. The theme of Pope Francis, you know, he looked at him and he had mercy on him.
Right.
He was merciful. So we need to be merciful like the Father. So basically this compassion in a synodal way. I would say synodal, it means to journey together, to be together, to walk together.
Sure.
So that, you know, we become empathetic to one another. Because sometimes we become as people who are so aloof, who are looking at people from a distance. We have become so cold. So, but the Pope, the late Pope, is giving us that emphasis that we need to be a people who have mercy towards one another. So when these bishops come together, when they come together these next 4 days or so, they will be focusing on this compassion in a synodal way, that we need to step on each other's shoes to look at the perspective of those people who need most hope, those people in the periphery, those people at the edge of society so that we're able to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Let me just make an example. You did mention the issue of creation. The late Pope wrote an encyclical, Laudato Si. So we need to engage and to have empathy also to creation. So that when we talk about climate change, as an example, we are able to empathize with creation so that creation can be nice to us also. And also maybe to also make another example, which is extreme in our particular case, some Swazis, some will not even understand it. The LGBTQ community, how do we become empathetic towards them? How do we have mercy on them? So that we will look at them as human beings, as people who are divine, in their, divinely made by God. They are made in the image and likeness of God.
Right.
So they would be discussing on those matters so that we have compassion on them, because and to be pilgrims of hope and to give people hope that they still good in society.
Synodal journey nourished by compassion,
yes,
as well as blossoming in faith as pilgrims of hope. That was well, defined. And I suppose it does then trickle into this other element that you want to discuss this year, which is the issue around the model of hierarchy, with which, of course, you want to move from the paradigm shift from one of communion,
yes,
and what it could mean for the ordinary Catholic member, just the ordinary person, really. The ordinary person listening to us. Why is that important?
I like that you just mentioned the word listening,
right?
Because the most important part, it is also the first thing that one needs to do in order to be communal. We need to have the ability to listen. To listen with that aim of discerning what is this voice saying to me, so that one is able to ascertain and understand and comprehend in a more deeper way. What is this person saying to me? Because, as much as we may be hierarchical at times, but we do need to understand one another so that we are a community. Because we Catholics, we Christians generally, we believe in the communion of saints. So we need to bring that into practice. So what the bishops are trying to do, or what they will be meeting on, it is to look at ways on how, as much as there may be, the structure of the church may be hierarchical in its sense, but how do we then have that ability to listen, and to listen with the heart of compassion, to listen with the heart of empathy, to walk in the other person's shoes.
Yeah. And we know that whenever bishops convene together, issues that they discuss, sometimes, they go outside of just the book or the issues that we discuss in the church every day.
Yes.
Because of, the message that they carry and the power, so to speak, that they carry. Of course, they have the responsibility to then talk about socio-political issues. And indeed, the world right now is going through a lot of crises.
Yes.
United General Assembly is ongoing right now, and some of these issues that are being discussed, they are quite heated and very topical. And I wonder if any of these topics that we see in the world will take center stage with the bishops.
Well, not necessarily like as it is happening in a robust manner at the United Nations. But at the same time, let me just bring it up to you that we are going to have one of the cardinal bishops from the Vatican itself.
Oh.
He is what to call, I would say in our country, the ministry of, in terms of the governance of the Pope.
Sure.
The Ministry of the Promotion of Integral Human Development. So that department in itself, one may look at it that it is into the care of migrants and refugees as one aspect, as to how can we best support people who are in conflicts, as you mentioned, Gaza, Ukraine, and what we know, of course, coming closer home, the DRC and others. How can these bishops in Southern Africa be people who support those bishops there. But at the same time, you remember for us, closer home in our neighboring country, Mozambique, early January, we had some challenges. Yes, so now how can the bishops, what is the voice of the bishops as they meet? So that we have that compassion, we have that empathy, we reach out to the Mozambicans. It was beautiful what we did as a church, yes, but also as Swazis early this year. So that is what the church wants to see at the end of the day. And the bishops, definitely, they will always encourage the people of God to reach out to such people.
Yeah. I love the fact that since we started talking, almost every issue has set on the premise of community, of compassion, and if you did decipher what synodal means, and I suppose that as well. And I want to get into Eswatini, and we look at the Catholic family in Eswatini, and allow me to say Catholic family. Relatively, if we compare it to every other, Catholics around the world, we lean more towards the smaller spectrum. We're a very small family if we compare. And yet we're hosting the Golden Jubilee, which is something that is very big. What does that say about the Catholic family as a whole and understanding the dynamic of we are one, really?
Yeah, we are one. We are one as in our belief, because we believe, we usually say in our church, I believe in one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. The unicity that is going to be, that is being shown or permeated in this gathering, it's a sign that as much as we could have boundaries of languages, Portuguese and English in our particular case of Imbisa, but in a sense we are still showing that we are one. As much as Eswatini could be, as Catholics, we are a minority in inverted commas. But the Swazi Catholic or the Catholic worldwide, they are always there to support one another. And it is a sign that the church is one, and it is always supporting one another.
Yeah. From your perspective in communications, I understand, the department that you occupy looks at communications and just liaising with other stakeholders that you have. How do you ensure that this assembly is not only inward looking, just within the Catholic family, but that it also resonates with ordinary people, right? Just ordinary people across the region, particularly the youth.
The youth.
We are a young generation.
We are a young generation. Let me just bring, a testimony in a sense. How does the church become outward in a sense? We let us look at, say, the former Prime Minister, the late Prime Minister Mandulo Dlamini. He was so proud of the fact that he was formed by Catholics at Salesian High School, as an example.
Right.
So in a sense, one would say, when we look at the products of the Catholic community, as much as he was not a Catholic, as much as he was not pronouncing himself as a Catholic, he was sharpened, he was shaped by the Catholics in a sense.
Right.
So in a sense, I would say the church in itself, by means of communicating itself, not necessarily in terms of the media platforms that we use, but in its communicable way, it has shown that it is not only focusing on the nourishing of its own members, but it is also there for society.
Yeah.
It is there to nourish the Emaswati from where they are and how they are.
Yeah. And finally, as the assembly unfolds this week, what should the faithful be attentive to? And that is across Eswatini, across the southern region, across the world really, because some will be tuned in as well. What should they be attentive to? What outcomes or signs of hope can they anticipate?
Well, I would say come Sunday at Mavuso Trade Center, when we celebrate the closing mass of this assembly, for me, that which will be a take home, it is the resolution of the bishops in terms of the strategies on how we can be of hope, or how can we be people in society that could bring hope to people. How can we, as in parishes, be symbols of hope, basically?
Yeah.
That would be my take home, because yes, the anchor is Jesus. The bishops have also shared a verse there on John chapter 14, that is, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Not chapter. Yeah, yes. So I'm the way, the truth, and the life.
Right,
so
right.
it means we need to be able to reach out that Jesus is the way and the truth and the life. So that would be my takeaway.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vilakatin. That's certainly my takeaway as we wrap up our interview, and I'll try to lead my day with those words. Today, Mamiso Vilakati Media and Communications Liaison Officer for the Catholic Church, representing the Catholic Church from the Southern Africa part today, if I do say so myself. Just speaking on the inter-regional meeting of bishops of Southern Africa, better known as Imbisa, which has chosen Manzini as the venue for their Golden Jubilee. Let's go for a net break. We have our news in English after.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.sz. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Let me ask you something. What if I said we could all be more productive, that we could do more, create more, or earn more without having to spend more time or effort we put into work? Sounds great, right? So how do we do it? How do we do more with less? For economists, boosting productivity is the trillion-dollar question. So what do I mean by productive? What exactly is productivity? Economists actually measure how many resources go into an economy and compare that to the value of goods and services coming out. And that's what's called total factor productivity. The better and more efficiently an economy uses its time and resources, the higher its productivity. Let me show you what I mean. What if I wanted to open a restaurant? What would I need? A budget, tools, some ingredients. Of course, you can't have a good meal without an experienced chef. Once we have those, my customers get a great dining experience, and my restaurant starts earning revenue. But there's so much more to running a restaurant than just good cooking. I have to spend time ordering ingredients, doing taxes, taking reservations, seating charts, property management, getting permits, renewing safety, managing, updating, hiring, and firing. Doing those things takes me time I'd rather spend making meals. Fewer meals means turning away customers and losing out on revenue. My productivity could be so much higher if I use technology to streamline those things. But I can go even further. Here in the kitchen, I can also use technology or hire someone to take over the routine tasks. So now I can focus on making the perfect meal. My kitchen, with all its fancy gadgets to help me out, isn't so different from how wealthy economies use technology, trade, or innovation to boost their productivity. But imagine I don't have these tools. That's a problem that many poorer countries face, and it's one that the IMF takes pretty seriously. Because without access to productivity boosters, they earn less, and so living standards remain low. There's no one solution. But we do know that investing in science, technology, and education does help our members to do more with less over the long term. It's investments in our future that'll make us all better off and give us more time to do the things we love.
You're still watching Kusile Breakfast Show. Thank you for staying with us. Our English news now. His Majesty King Mswati III has consistently stressed the importance of global collaboration in addressing climate change and other multifaceted challenges. His Majesty said this when addressing the Climate Action Summit in New York.
On the sidelines of the ongoing United Nations General Assembly, His Majesty King Mswati III took part at the Climate Action Summit. The summit was hosted by the United Nations Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres. Leaders presented their updated nationally determined contributions and DCs to accelerate climate action for the next decade. At this year's General Assembly, some of the issues that were discussed by global leaders is climate change. Discussions at this particular summit covered mitigation, adaptation, finance and information, integrity to drive concrete action. Eswatini is also vulnerable to climate change, facing increased droughts and floods due to erratic rainfall, which threaten food security and the agriculture-dependent economy. Addressing this summit, His Majesty King Mswati III highlighted about international cooperation and stressed the importance of global collaboration to address climate change and other multifaceted challenges. His Majesty also highlighted that Eswatini will reform laws and strengthen all institutions to improve capacity, accountability, monitoring, and reporting.
We must all consider innovative internal and external resource mobilization strategies to unlock capital for adaptation and resilience. Otherwise, the Paris Agreement may break its promises. Finally, improving global financial architecture is essential for Eswatini's NDC 3.0 goals. Madam President, about survival and the opportunity, with the right support, Eswatini can turn climate challenges into green growth, food sovereignty, and shared prosperity.
Addressing this summit, His Majesty King Mswati III highlighted about international cooperation and stressed the importance of global collaboration to address climate change and other multifaceted challenges. His Majesty also highlighted that Eswatini will reform laws and strengthen all institutions to improve capacity, accountability, monitoring, and reporting.
Eswatini will reform laws and strengthen all institutions to improve capacity, accountability, monitoring, and reporting. Financial constraint prevented NDC 2.0 from meeting its $900 million to $1.5 billion target. Eswatini has only raised about $449 million since 2018. The NDC 3.0, estimated to cost over $2.4 billion, requires scaled up and predictable climate finance. Thus, we expect stronger collaboration with our partners, including the local private sector, to finance the $2 billion gap.
The King and Ngwenyama also pointed out that the Kingdom of Eswatini is amongst the 10 African nations that met the September 22nd deadline.
The Kingdom is among the 10 African countries that met the September 22nd deadline, a significant milestone thanks to the support of the local UN office and partners. The NDC 3.0 revision process was comprehensive and inclusive with the greenhouse gas data local driven, providing that we own the process.
The United Nations Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, speaking at the summit, highlighted on the unstoppable momentum of clean energy revolution. Other heads of states and government also had an opportunity to make their own contributions on this matter. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia with Zweli Masugu in New York, in the United States of America.
His Majesty King Mswati III says Africa has taken a firm stand not to tolerate coups nor recognize governments established through unconstitutional means. His Majesty was addressing the Peace and Security Council at an assembly that was held at the United Nations headquarters in New York.
This meeting is not merely a forum for reflection but a call to action, ensuring that Africa's peace remains rooted in African wisdom and determination. We assemble at the critical crossroad where violent conflicts, research, unconstitutional changes of government and coups persist, and new threats from climate-induced instability to transnational crime compound our struggle. Africa has taken a firm stand not to tolerate coups nor recognize governments established through unconstitutional means. The African Union, together with the United Nations, must uphold this principle at all times. No matter how popular a coup may appear, we cannot and we will not embrace those who seize power by force. We must reject any attempt to overthrow a legitimate government. Those who assent to power through coups must face consequences, not acceptance. The African Union and the United Nations have a responsibility to act decisively, ensuring that no coup is legitimized or recognized. This is not merely a policy, it is a moral imperative. As enshrined in the AU 50th Anniversary Solemnity Declaration and Agenda 2063, we reaffirm our sacred pledge to silence the guns by 2030, sparing future generations the scars of war. Guided by the core objectives of this gathering, let us seize this opportunity to reassess, renew, and reinforce our path to enduring peace. We must, as heads of state and government, provide the space to reassess the African Union's conflict resolution efforts, reflecting on critical lessons and best practices to enhance the PSC's mandate. Eswatini, as a member of the African Union PSC for the 2025-2028 term, has seen firsthand the power of our tools, the continental early warning systems, the panel of wise preventative diplomacy, and the African standby force. However, we have learned that early warnings too often go unheeded, allowing crises to escalate. Let us commit to codify best practices from successful interventions. Eswatini therefore proposes a General Assembly-led compliance unit with clear timelines that will transform our resolutions from aspirations into unbreakable commitments. We must safeguard the efficiency and legitimacy of the African solutions to African problems, the very essence of our union. Further, Eswatini urges the full operationalization of the African Standby Force and fostered financing through the AU Peace Fund and innovative partnerships. We need to renew the PSC delivery of its conflict resolution mandate, focusing on relations with partners. These include, but not limited to, regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, the UN Security Council, the European Union Peace and Security Committee, and the League of Arab States Peace and Security Council. Fragmented collaborations have hindered progress. Let us forge harmonized protocols for joint early warnings, shared intelligence, and coordinated actions, always under African leadership, to amplify our global goals. Finally, we must intensify our efforts to ensure full implementation of AU-facilitated peace agreements and timely completion of political transitions. Excellencies, we must confront structural imbalances by advocating UN Security Council reform as per the Eswatini consensus for Africa's equitable representation. Our generation bears the duty to turn vision into reality. Beyond rhetoric, with courage and unity, let us silence the guns forever. May this meeting mark a turning point where Africa's children inherit peace and a brighter future, brimming with hope, not challenges. Thank you. May Almighty God bless us all.
His Majesty King Mswati III attended the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum that was held in New York in the United States of America. The forum was also attended by world leaders and top leaders from public, private and non-profit sectors.
His Majesty King Mswati III attended the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum, which took place alongside the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The forum brought together top leaders from the public, private, and non-profit sectors to address the world's most urgent challenges and opportunities. The forum also highlighted Africa as a hub for innovation, investment, and infrastructure expansion. This year, the forum is honored to host His Majesty King Mswati III at this year's convening. Past forums have welcomed over 50 heads of state, 250 global CEOs, and influential leaders from finance, technology, policy, academia, and a few other sectors.
At Bloomberg Philanthropies, we've seen the power of collaboration and partnership. It's at the heart of everything that we do. Our mission is to help the greatest number of people live longer, better lives. In pursuit of that goal, we look for needs that aren't yet met.
The forum was officially opened by the founder, Michael Bloomberg, who highlighted on the next era of global cooperation to strengthen collaboration, unlock growth, and deliver real-world impact. There were different speakers who spoke on different topics such as harnessing the power of artificial intelligence, biodiversity imperative, and as well as navigating the new global economy, just to name a few. His Majesty was accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Kusile, the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Savannah Mazia, the Minister of Finance, Neil Reichenbach, the Minister of Commerce and Trade Industry, Mangoba Khumalo, and the Eswatini ambassador to the United Nations, His Excellency Tamil Dlamini. His Majesty King Mswati III and Inkosigati Mage Landendesa attended a dinner that was hosted by the President of the United States of America, His Excellency Donald Trump, and the First Lady Melania Trump. The President hosted the dinner to welcome global leaders who have come to attend the United Nations high-level meeting. The dinner that was held at Lotte New York Palace followed the official opening of the 88th United Nations General Assembly. On another note, Inkosigati Mage Landendesa joined the First Ladies and spouses from the various United Nations member countries at a luncheon that was hosted by the First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump. During the luncheon, the First Lady launched a new global children's initiative. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia with Zweli Masugu in New York, in the United States of America.
The Ministry of Education continues to review the curriculum of Eswatini to ensure that it aligns with industry needs by hosting the National Conference on Curriculum. The Minister of Education, Owen Malo, says that education is the cornerstone of development, hence the need to constantly assess as well as to improve it. The Minister made these remarks during the conference that was held in Manzini.
The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, including researchers, writers, and industry representatives, convened a conference to discuss curriculum reforms. The Minister of Education, Honorable Owen Ngumalo, says that the aim of the conference is to review the curriculum to ensure that young people acquire the necessary skills in line with concerns raised during the national dialogue Esibayeni.
Sifuna ukuphuma ngokuthi labantwana besinabaphuma esikolweni bakhone ukuthola imisebenzi. Labantwana basinabaphuma esikolweni babe ngilento lefuna dinkapani.
The minister noted that these discussions are the fruits of earlier discussions and confirmed that competency-based education, which has already been implemented at primary level, will be rolled out in high schools next year. The National Curriculum Center Director Musa Hlophe explained that the ministry invited industries to share the types of skills they require.
Sihlanganise government partners lababambise uhulumende labenema research nema researchers la khona.
Hlophe says that researchers have also been engaged to help provide ideas on how the curriculum can be transformed for the better. Eva Maria Ekdal, head of cooperation at the European Union, says that the EU is currently supporting the empowerment of young people through technical and vocational education and training.
Now we are focusing more in our current program on combating the very high youth unemployment, and where we see that there is a mismatch between the skills that are being developed and the job opportunities. So our big flagship program for the moment is actually entirely devoted to the education and developing skills for youth, and also looking at vulnerable groups in Eswatini to make sure that they are also skilled to get an employment.
The Kingdom of Eswatini is preparing to fully implement curriculum reforms by 2030 in line with the theme of the conference. Reporting, Sondomlangeni, Manzini.
The citizens of Eswatini have their duty to safeguard and protect all infrastructure developed by the kingdom's partners, even after the projects they had been implementing have come to an end. These were sentiments of the Honorable Minister for Tinkundla and Administration, Sekumbuzo Dlamini, which he delivered when receiving an office block from World Vision Eswatini, which the organization has been using during their stay at Gukanyeni constituency, implementing various developmental programs in 5 communities. The minister says the safeguarding of the infrastructure enables government to focus its finances on other programs that are pertinent to the nation's development agenda.
Indaba ye-service is very important. Kumqoka umuntu asaphila udzinga i-service.
He says the issue of service delivery is of utmost importance, hence the Prime Minister and his cabinet have decided to spring into action after getting a directive from His Majesty the King to ensure that the decentralization of government services is speedily implemented. He says it is therefore important for all cabinet ministers to go out to the people and partner with the international partners to bring services to the people. He says as the building has been handed over to the constituency, the community should take good care of it. He says it is disheartening that government has spent about 6 million in Malangeni rehabilitating an Ingudla building that was burnt down by people. He says the Ingudla has now been installed with CCTV cameras, which means arsonists and any other criminal elements will be easily caught if they try to destroy the new structures. Reporting, Mbangwa Dube, Mbabane.
Board CEO Pegizo Mazia says they have reduced the 1 hectare to 0.5 hectare, which makes it affordable for farmers to access the subsidy. NAMBOD had meetings with farmers to discuss market levy.
NAMPOD had a meeting with farmers from various parts of the country to discuss market levy and innovation platform for farmers. NAMPOD CEO Pegizo Mazia says they have removed some of the terms and conditions that had always made farming difficult for farmers, especially the access to input subsidy.
The minimum size ya 1 hectare yekuthi ukuze umuntu aqualify abafinyeleli labanye abalimi. Sacela ke bhodini yasivumela ukuthi asiyehlise sale icala ku 0.5 hectares.
Mazia says they have reduced the hectare that had always charged from 1 hectare to 0.5 hectares, where the farmer used to contribute about 60% and NAMPOD would contribute 40%. Farmer says this was an insightful meet-up and they managed to share ideas and seek clarity where possible.
Phindze siyakhuda lana umkhuba lezivama sehle siwenda lo we side selling ngokuthi sesifuna ukuthi icosha letinye imali eceleni ukuthi kufuna singakwenda ngoba sekuyi part of ukuthi sesivele sophula yona le contract.
They say going forward life in business looks easy after everything that was discussed, especially exporting their products.
We need to also exercise the export market facilities.
They also agreed that they will no longer call themselves just ordinary farmers, but they will refer themselves as agripreneurs. Reporting I'm Kian MCB, Manzini.
In order for a family business to stand the test of time and leave a lasting legacy, there is a need to incorporate innovative entrepreneurial activities, to embrace risk-taking, as well as to integrate artificial intelligence. This was part of the discussion during the second edition of the Family Business Summit, which was hosted by Red Eye, supported by different partners, including Standard Bank Eswatini, under the theme, Growing Legacies, Embracing Change.
We are looking at how you can create a legacy. It was not just enough to make profit. A business must also contribute to the development of the community. It must be run ethically. We are focusing on the issues of risk. We are including the use of technology in family businesses.
The Director of Small and Medium Enterprises at the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mluleki Dlamini, who was representing the minister, says government has put initiatives in place to support businesses.
We continue to strengthen policies that support MSME, family businesses. Recently, we've been piloting a Citizen Economic Empowerment Act, which we are developing regulations that will empower all business owned by Eswatini.
Sifiso Ndwandwa, Executive Director of Sotaba Enterprise Associates, says the idea of Family Business Summit is to enrich local family businesses.
We wanted to bring best practice to this kingdom from elsewhere to make sure that we blend that which is our own lived experiences of family-owned business with that which comes from international communities.
The African Development Bank states that family businesses on the continent constitute a large percentage of businesses in Africa, with employment figures reaching around 70 to 90% of jobs in some countries. Reporting, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
With over 600 multi-purpose cooperatives in the country, most of which are struggling to perform effectively, The Eswatini Multi-Purpose Cooperative Union, with support from the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, is hosting an Indaba at Codec to equip members with the necessary knowledge to grow their cooperatives as well as to make meaningful economic contributions. The Vice President, Mhlonipheni Msibi, states that multi-purpose cooperatives face numerous challenges which they are determined to overcome.
The Vice President says they are currently exploring ways for multi-purpose cooperatives to access financing, emphasizing that their rural location often limits their opportunities and potential.
Tinhlangano letinengi tinebulukhuni kwati ukuthi setihlangene tiphuma tibhekaphi maqondana nokuthi tithola njani bonsumbulwana phela bekwekuthi basungule leyo misebenzi yabo.
He further states that they will be explaining the requirements for accessing funding, including the role of bookkeeping, why it is essential, and how it should be properly implemented. He continues to say they will also talk about the importance of ensuring sound governance and effective cooperative management. The Commissioner of Cooperatives, Russell Nxumalo, details some of the policy formulations in place to assist these cooperatives.
The department is currently working on a policy that will touch upon governance and compliance. And on top of that, we will have a resource mobilization policy which will assist our multipurpose cooperatives to access finance and also technical expertise from different partners that we work with as a department.
The World Bank recognizes multi-purpose cooperatives' vital role in promoting rural development, poverty alleviation, and economic inclusion by enabling community participation, resource mobilization, and access to vital services like credit, market access, and training. Reporting, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nisa, Ezulwini.
The Ministry of Home Affairs has temporarily suspended the production of ID cards. This has been said by the ministry's communications officer, Mlanvo Dlamini. Dlamini says the ministry is working with relevant stakeholders to ensure that the issue is resolved soon.
The Ministry of Home Affairs requests to announce the temporary suspension of ID card production countrywide. This is due to malfunctioning of the ID card production printers. As a minister responsible for issuing identification documents in the country, we fully understand their importance in various aspects of our daily life and official procedures. As a result, individuals with urgent requests for ID cards are encouraged to visit the nearest service center, where special acknowledgements will be provided and alternative arrangements to help meet the identification needs during this interruption. May I also assure the nation that the ministry, in collaborating with the various stakeholders, is actively working to address these technical issues and resume normal operations as quickly as possible. We sincerely appreciate everyone's patience and understanding as we work through these challenges. Our commitment to restoring the ID service to full capacity remains strong, and we are dedicated to meeting the identification needs of all the citizens of Eswatini at the earliest opportunity.
Now, sports news. Former Manzini Wanderers and Sihlangu Sebnikati legend Clement King Clay Mdluli is no more. Mdluli passed away after suffering an undisclosed illness. During his reign as a coach, Mdluli had 3 stints with Manzini Wanderers as an assistant coach to the current coach Nyanga Crooks Tlhophe, with the last one being back in 2023-2024 season. Mdluli held an advanced coaching certificate and CAF license C as a coach. And that is how we end our English news. We'll go for a net break. We'll be back shortly.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.za.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna senze ukukhiqiza ngokusembili.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
Welcome back. You're still watching Kusile Breakfast Show right here on Eswatini TV. Onto this now. CTM has just opened a brand new branch or store rather in Matsapa, and we're talking big savings and more style, but also it's more than just a store. It's about inspiring homes, creating job opportunities and bringing quality and style to community. To tell us more about this exciting launch, I'm now joined by Kulu Njingila, who is the franchise owner, CTM Matsapa, to share what makes their store, his store, a shopping experience like no other. Very good morning to you, Njingila. How are you doing?
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Doing very well.
Great, great. Let's get to it. CTM Matsapa, you've just opened new doors. What are you offering?
It's actually very wonderful to be back. we are just not about the store. CTM as a brand is about families and making beautiful homes together with the families.
Speaking of families, having to open a branch in Matapa, how do you feel about, welcoming the community in?
We are very privileged we've been here before, by the way, and we are welcomed by the community in Matapa with open arms, and a lot of our customers that have already started walking in have been asking us, where have you guys been?
Right. You're celebrating in a big way this Saturday. Babugeli or clients, what can they expect?
This Saturday is our official opening. There'll be a big celebration at the store. We are welcoming families. There'll be live music. The radio will be broadcasting live from there. You'll also have sport prizes and, of course, amazing opening specials that we can expect.
Right. These specials, big savings, what are you promising exactly?
We're promising our 8-grade tiles, for instance, starting from 89 emalangeni per square meter. We're also looking across all our products there, which will include your sanitary ware. There will be specials there. Our taps, wide range of taps. We also have accessories and mosaics, everything to make your home beautiful. On that day, they'll be on special, and there are a lot of other surprise and specials that will just drop on the specific day. So we would like to welcome everyone to come in and join us there.
Now, what makes CTM Matapa stand out as a shopping experience?
You know, this concept that we do have at CTM is to build the store around the customer. So when you walk into the shop, you'll have everything you need to make your beautiful home under one roof. We also have a lot of inspirational lifestyles that we create so that you can begin to imagine yourself how your beautiful home will look like. We cater for, small projects, big projects, a new house, maybe just a revamp of your bathroom. So all of that is under one roof.
Now, community is clearly a big focus for yourselves as a company or as a business. And opening or setting up shop in Matapa, rather, what's the connection there? How are you? Why did you find Matapa to be the rightful spot? How are you connecting to that particular area?
Look, first and foremost, we're looking to employ local people. Also looking to partner with small businesses in the industry to be able to train them and facilitate them doing the work in the construction industry. We're also big on our CSI programs, so we're looking further down the line to actually adopt a school where we can assist them with some improvement in their infrastructure. We're looking at probably offering some bursaries through our group foundation.
Right.
So that's how we connect with the community.
Right. You did say that whether it's a big project or just minor revamps here and there, but many people, which I believe CTM does have this to offer, we want modern, we want stylish, but also we're worried about the cost. How are you making that dream possible, especially within, whether it's, I probably want to see this project completed in 6 months or in 12 months. How are you making this dream possible for any client?
We offer great prices. You don't have to break your budget. And most important, it's that our products are high quality products. You might be, for instance, be building slowly. In 6 months' time, you probably still find that tile that you were looking for. You'll still find that that bath that you're still looking for. So we are not a hit and run type of an operation.
Right. Now, for somebody that's watching right now and has never been to the CTM store, what's your message?
Please come and visit us, especially come on Saturday. You will find that our staff is very knowledgeable. They'll actually help you create that dream home that you dream about, and guide you through all the little things that you might not be aware of when you start your project at your home. So we are a one-stop type of offering,
right,
that offers you the style.
Now, for somebody that probably can't make their way to Matapa, but they do want to, have a feel of what CTM has to offer before they could get there, can you give us a contact or an email? Maybe they would like a quote. The people that just already know the type of tiles that they want, the type of, bathroom sets that they want. But before I can go there, can you at least give me a quote?
Yes, we can. We've got actually, you can find us on Facebook.
Okay.
We can find us on, I know you guys like your new platforms to shop in, yeah. And if you go to our CTM website, you'll also be able to see physically some of the things that you can find in the shop,
right,
and make your choices there.
Right.
So you can literally shop from home.
Right. So on Facebook, it's CTM Eswatini.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. So thank you very much, Mr. Njengila. That was CTM Matapa, franchise owner Kulu Njengila, just sharing insights or telling us a bit more about their store opening and what they have to offer. Be sure to pay them a visit and also check them out online. This is Kusile Professional. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.za.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba-researche, bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna senze ukukhicita ngokusembili.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
Welcome back, still on the show. Now we'll move on to a conversation on Alzheimer and dementia. These are conditions known to be or relating to old age, but progressive illnesses that strip away memory, behavior, and a place or other places a burden on particular caregivers, noma ke labo labanakekela labo labaphila nanakuthiwa Alzheimer and dementia. But ke kusifundisa kangcono ngulobuke is the mental health focal person at the Ministry of Health, Sindiso Pembe, who joins me now virtually. A very good morning to you, Mavundla, and thank you so much for your time. Alzheimer disease and dementia, it's often a foreign concept to many other people. I understand, Guti, we often celebrate or observe the awareness day for this condition, but in general, or give us the definition. What are we talking about when we're saying somebody has been diagnosed with Alzheimer and dementia?
Good morning, Notsile, and good morning to the viewers out there. Indeed, Alzheimer's is one condition that gives a confusion, yet it is very pertinent and it is there. And the terminology, njengoba usho ukuthi there's dementia and then there's Alzheimer's. So when we're talking about dementia is an umbrella term. Kusho ukuthi ngile package ke yona, which is a term lay under what we call degenerative disorders, meaning kukhona lese kugulako lese kutokwehla ngendlela lebekumele ngabe kwenda ngayo. So degenerative kuyehla, all right? So it's an umbrella term. Bese ke kule umbrella term kuna these different conditions ke under it. Lokufaka ekhathi le Alzheimer's, kufaka ekhathi bo Lewy body and any other. So when we're talking about dementia, so kwesikhulumisa ukuthi definitely there'll be something about how you think, how you act, and how you move, all right? Because le degenerative or lendlela lokwehla ngayo ku-affecta indlela locabanga ngayo, indlela lobona ngayo, indlela understanda ngayo tinto, even movement, indlela lotohamba ngayo. Ngiko Lewy body, nabathi nje une Lewy body, kusho ukuthi wena moso kakhulu sekulimele indlela lotohamba ngayo. It's got to do with your motor. So when we're talking about Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's yona, it's more so on how you are thinking and how you remember things. So it's more of the forgetfulness and all of that. That's got to do with how you think and how you put things together and how you remember things. So that would be more so on the Alzheimer's.
In as much as the dementia is the umbrella word, in this particular case, it's dementia, or in this particular case, then we can call it Alzheimer. Is there a difference there?
Well, njengoba ngisho ngithi ukhanza ukuthi bese sekuyasetshenziswa interchangeably lo dementia nalo Alzheimer's, especially because dementia or Alzheimer's is the most common symptoms lesiwabonako. Njengoba kusho, it's all about the degenerative. Kuthi nangabe sekuniketwa that specific diagnosis, kuthi nguphi lo lebe kuqinzetele kakhulu kulama symptoms, yabona. Sesitawusho ukuthi ke it's dementia, Alzheimer's. So kungaya ngokuthi which symptoms la kagcindzetele kakhulu, but vele kakhulu kusebenziseka interchangeably lo dementia nalo Alzheimer's, kube kahle hle kuminwa lo Alzheimer's because lama symptoms kakhulu ahambisana na the forgetfulness.
I should ask Mavundla if you could allow me ukuthi either condition iphatha umuntu longanani, because we associated perhaps nokuguga, and also, but as a young person, ngiyendeka nje ukuthi ngidawungena ekamereni ngithi kumbe bengiyothatha skipper sengikhohliwe, I walk out with something else. So should I then be worried if this is a frequent occurrence?
All right, so when we're talking degenerative, sesikhulumela ukuthi so hambile wahamba sigaba hayi sekwaba nekokuthi ke uyabona ke nyalo sesiya decline ke nyalo, meaning it is definitely for the old age. All right, kulingisa nje inzaba ayifike ezulwini kumbe nguphi le emafini khona la bese seyigoba khona angithi. So it's more like that. So it's particularly iphatha abantu labadzala. Once upon a time, statistics specific ukuthi iphatha from maybe 60, 65 and above. Kakhulu siyibona in the 70s, 80s, but nyalo with how life is going, sesiyayibona as early as 40, 45, it has become pertinent in earlier ages. But nje kakhulu it definitely iphatha abantu labadala. Thine at a younger age, phithitela kakhulu etingcondweni tethu, ngiko lo bese kuyakukhohliswa na ungena erumini usuka la usacabanga ukuthi ke uyathi kumele ngilungiselele ngemsebentini, uyathi nemntwana esikolwa ngikufuna ngimbhadalele kwekuthi usayolanza kumbe icingo ekamerweni, uthi na ufika ngeke uthi bophithitelwa nginati school fees, so ukhohliwe lokuthi boyolanza ini. So it's not really a degenerative thing that made you forget.
If ijwayeleke ukuthi iba kubantu laba at least 60s, 70s, but now we've declined to diagnosis at 40. Ngabe yini imbangela yayo i-Alzheimer's and dementia?
So mostly, njengoba ngishilo ukuthi it's degenerative, meaning when the cells asakhula asati-replicate noma asakhula uyabona na ulimala ukuthi siyakhona ukuphola silonza sakho kube nalesika kube nalo ukuthi nje ngangilimele la. The more ukhula, the more the body kufuna ukuthi iti-repair kanjalo, sesiyehla lesigaba leso. Fana nalokuthi bathi ke so umdzala lithambo lakho na uphuka ngeke lisahluma. It's basically that ukuthi akusahlumi kahle, so ngiko ke sithi it's degenerative, akusabuyi kahle. So it's more so vele ukuthi it's just coming with age, ukuthi angeke vele kusabuya kahle. Also environment contributor where you stay or how you stay, if it's toxic, yabona, and everything, you're always on the go, you're always stressed and whatnot, so you deplete your immune system faster than how it was supposed, because nayo iyakubambisa ukuthi urepair letinye tintfo, right? So lenye into phindze futhi it could be our diet. So with our diet, with all the wrong foods being bo junk kumbe yabona letintfo letingendi bodybuilding foods lele singadidli kakhulu, that's why kuthiwa bodybuilding, yabona. So nasingadidli vele kahle labo bodybuilding foods lekufaka ekhatsi our proteins, our healthy fats, so we are pushing ourselves faster to a degenerative condition, meaning we cannot prevent it. All right, itawukuda vele. So others igcine ifikile kibo, labanye igcine ingakafiki. So it's basically that is something that is there ukuthi as a lifestyle yethu, indlela lesichuba ngayo lifestyle yethu kungaya ngekuthi are we pushing ourselves faster to the degenerative condition, or siyazama lokho ukuthi siyislowishe le progression gcine ingakafiki ke isikhathi sethu sesifikile.
Right. Despite lifestyles or the environment where one may be, your memory at 50 doesn't work the same as your memory at 20. That's normal aging, perhaps we can say. So, yini lama early warning signs or symptoms that I could possibly be on the lookout for, kwamini, as an individual, or perhaps nasengibona ku makhelwane say ngasi atisa, 1 and 2 akusahlangani.
Thank you very much. So with Emma warning signs or Emma signs and symptoms, Alzheimer's, it's obviously the forgetting, which is the significant one that we look out for. So the forgetting, which comes over time, vele kucala kancane. Njengobusho ukuthi in your 50s sengukhohliwe kwekuthi noma kwekuthi angisakuboni ukuthi ngikubeke kuphi. So it comes over time. Uqala ukhohlwe kancane, and then iyachubeka le forgetfulness. So ukuze sibone ukuthi sekunenkinga, this forgetfulness or lama symptoms lengidowabala ngicela umlaleli anake singathi nami ngiyakhohlwa ngigijime ngesibhedlela. It has to reach a point where it is disturbing, significantly disturbing your way of life, significantly disturbing maybe emsebentini, or significantly disturbing or causing concern kubantu lohlala nabo, yabona. Lokho ukuthi utawulahla something very, very, very important, siyabona. So noma emsebentini ukhohlwe nje completely nge-meeting, ukhohlwe nje completely ukuthi namhlanje lesingaki. So some of the symptoms ke la kakhona is the forgetful, lekufaka ekhathi forgetting even the time, and the date, even season. Loku nje nyalo singena, uyabona namuhla kumakhadi, you can have somebody forgetting lokho ukuthi sesengena kusummer or is it autumn, abe nokuthi it's winter. So ende tonke tintfo letihambisana ne-winter akhohlwe njena ukuthi namuhla siku-2025 akhulume ungazuthi siku-1977 yabona. So it's that significant, the forgetfulness is that significant. Yebo vele utakubeka lokho lakakubekile somewhere abese akasakhumbuli akhohlwe nokuthi uke wangena kuleyo room leyo, so they even forget retracing their steps. They will not be even able to retrace their steps. Lokunye ke le forgetfulness ihamba esigabeni sokuthi uyatikhohlwana naye ukuthi ungubani, uyabakhohlwa nebantwa bakhe nangaba nebantwana, ihlobo takhe, umyeni wakhe, imvotsa yakhe, uyabakhohlwa nokuthi babobani, or they can't recognize them, or they don't even remember their names. So it is that extensive. When we're talking about Alzheimer's, it's not the small anyana forgetfulness leli sikusho ukuthi bengibeke icingo lami kuphi angisaliboni uphinze futhi ulithole. Kulokunye bayakuthola but balithola kumbe later. So lokunye kuhambisana ne what we call problem solving, right? I-problem solving nekuputha things together. Khanze ukuthi the order lekumele ngabe kuhamba ngayo akasakwadi ukuthi kuhamba kanjani. Ekuseni nje wena uthena uvuka uyathi ukuthi uyavuka uyagceba uyageza uyagcoka. Impahla takho utibekile lapha uyagcoka. Uqala ngalokucalela ngesicalelo vele. Ubuyise kubhumbele ngoba kuyabanza ngithi ulethe ijacket ngetulo. So lomunye angacalela vele ngalala calela ngabo. Asuka lethe le jacket ngetulo. Ngikhana letha skipa ngetulo. Uyabona? Tuka le jacket lesekayigcokile. Lisokisi kumbe lelinye solikhohliwe, lelinye uligcokile. Noma lelinye lisokisi solifake esandleni. It's a pity ukuthi unfortunately other people but they then find it funny, but yena vele akaboni lokuthi sekukhona tintfo lakatibhicile. Noma ngasaboni lokuthi la lacale khona ngisachubeka, so ushiyile so uye, remember there's forgetfulness, so ushiyile so uye elsewhere. Lokunye angeke abone nasekhaya lakhe, angakhona ukurecognize ukuthi ekhaya nguphi. This is the one lotovuka ekuseni njengawe kuthi kufuna ayogeza. Athi nakayogeza angithi ngiyogeza ngalithi impahla lotigcokile. Ufuna akhumule. Lesikhana akhumula vela lelinye ephinze futhi lifayela, right? Today i-chronology akasahambi ngayo. Akhumbule tinkukhu tami, aphume ayofida tinkukhu takhe. Asafida le tinkukhu takhe so ukhohliwe ukuthi ufida tinkukhu takhe. Akhumbule, hawu uyathi bengimele ngilungiselele umntwana noma ngilungiselele batukulu bami bayeda, uyabona, asengiyobakhela umbila. Ehamba nyalo uyowendani yovuna. Unjani lo mvuloyi? Akagcoki ngoba bekenda njani bekayogeza. So ukuphi so ngaphandle uphatha inkukhu takhe. So ehamba nyalo uyowena njani uyovuna umbila webatukulu bakhe. Akasabona lokuthi uhamba kuphi and ungakuphi, so tikhanza umakhelwane. So those are the things lesitibonaka okay ku Alzheimer's lokho ukuthi the problem solving nalendlela lakabeka ngayo tintfo lapho bese so uyakhohlwa. Kufana nekupheka. Tawuthi nakacala athi ufuna kupheka utamcoba lo anyanisi but tokugcina angakamfaki lapha ebhodweni. So ushile kumbe so uthethe impuphu wayifaka la sekafake khona emafutha kuthi ufuna kupheka umshibo. So tintfo leti kanjalo letivelako ke nabo poor judgment kumbe usasenayo imali akasakhona ukuyisebenzisa kahle bese bamanipulateeka bese yabatsotsa.
That's very informative, Mavundla. I do think we need to be cognizant. But lastly, why is it important for individuals, Ningama health professionals, you see these cases every day, but Swati, we do lack the understanding. Why is it important that we take stock, we appreciate this condition, just have a better understanding of things?
Today, I am not able to protect myself because I'm no longer able to remember, I'm no longer able to recognize myself, I'm no longer even able to recognize my children, meaning saying vulnerable, meaning say anything can happen to me, ngingalahleka, ngingatikhanza ngidilimete kakhulu futhi because they can even bump into furniture, bangayiboni because even the vision is also affected. So, Emma carers, nabalaleli ekhaya, we need to be there to protect our loved ones, lesebane Alzheimer's, ngoba akasakhoni kuti protector yena ngo hayi ngeke ukuthi kumbe ugugile ufrail or what not. The one organ lebe yimbambisa ukuthi naye atihlobise njengoba ahlobile isihlobo sakhe ati protect njengoba nawe ukhona ukuthi protect akasakhona. So we need to protect them, we need to take care of them. Sizame nekubakhumbuta ukuthi dlani sibafunde ngisho nangabe kudzinga lokuthi sibafunde sibagcokise kahle sibahlalise endaweni lapho isafe khona nale humiliation kakhulu nangabe aphumile njena sekangcono sekalahlekile sikuprotect lokho asibe yi-community lekhonako ku-recognize so uphathekile lona noma sowuyagula lena angivete esandla sekumbambisa ngimsite ngimprotecte than ukuthi ngimhumiliate. So that is why we need to understand ukuthi silethe le protection and maintain the dignity of that individual.
Care, maintain dignity, and protect. Thank you very much, Mavundla. That's all the time we had this morning. That was mental health focal person in the Ministry of Health, Sindizo Bembe Asifundzisa Alzheimer and dementia. She does mention that we do need to be cognizant of our lifestyles, but also more than anything, we do need to look out for particular symptoms here and there. This has been the Thursday edition. I do hope that you had a lot to learn from the conversations that we had for you here on the show today. Otherwise, until next time, from myself and the team, thank you so much for sticking with us. Bye.